Buckle up, sports fanatics. This is the Sports Chasers Podcast, your HQ for in-depth sports talk. Join host Kevin L. Warren and crew as they dissect the hottest stories, ignite debates, and bring you closer to the action. From locker room whispers to expert takes, we cover it all. It's game time, so strap in and grab a drink. The Sports Chasers Podcast starts right now.
Hey, good evening and happy Monday to everybody. Hope everybody's having a great Monday. This is the Sports Chasers Podcast coming to you live and direct on a Monday evening. It's 7 o'clock out here in the East. Like I said, hopefully everybody's having a great Monday. So make sure you check out make sure you hit all the bells for the notifications. Make sure you go to our YouTube and click, and subscribe to the channel. And like I said, hit all the bells for all the notifications. And make sure you do what on that podcast side? Yeah, give us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those that are listening, that 5-star review. 5-star review. A lot to get into with the world of sports. It's only me tonight. I will be pretty much being every and anything today, man. And hey, we're gonna have fun tonight, man. Hopefully, those that are listening or looking, hey, man, make sure you chime in the comments, man. Thank you for all those that's chiming in the comments. We appreciate you all that do that on a daily basis. Thank you so much. Like I said, some of the crew, they're not with us today, but it's me, and we're going to get it on, man. Did I miss anything? Make sure, hey, you want some of this nice merch. Can't see it right now. Have the camera out of sight, man. But hey, you want some of these nice polos, man? Go to our website, sportschaserspodcast.net. Click on the merchandise side of the website, and you will get some of this nice merchandise, well quality made, stitching, everything, no garbage, nothing like that, man. So thank you for all of those that's supporting us. Hey, if you also want to support us, man, on the YouTube side, make sure you hit us up with the super chats. We're grateful and thankful for that. So without that said, we got the NCAA, the women's and the men's going on. The women's are going to decide the Final Four tonight. UCLA and South Carolina, they both made it on yesterday's. UCLA is their first time on the women's side making it to the Final Four ever in their history. Now, they used to have some kind of women's tournament, but it wasn't sanctioned by the NCAA tournament back in the 70s. They made it sometime in the 70s, but they didn't honor that. Well, not honor that, but wasn't sanctioned by the NCAA. So they make it to that. And we'll also talk about the men's side and how all the 4 favorites, the top seeds, they all made it. So what are you crying about? Well, there's no Cinderella story. Well, no, there's no Cinderella story. They made it. The big dogs made it. So, but you can hey, or that's one of the players that get paid. Well, this is a byproduct of this, because the big dogs, the big schools, the blue chippers, you know what they're doing? They going down to the mid majors and grabbing all their players from there, and there you go. So the mid-majors is pretty much minor leagues for the blue chippers, and that's how it is, man. So we'll talk about that. Won't be on here too long. Just want to address a couple of things. Like I said, we'll talk about some of that, man. But let me talk about this first story here, man. And it's been very crazy with this story. Speaking about the NCAA, Kevin Willard. I'm mad that he got my first thing. Kevin Willard. Let me just read this real quick, and this is from CBS Sports, from John Tafty. He says this: Kevin Willard's messy exit from Maryland after just 3 seasons reveals a stormy behind-the-scenes drama involving NIL frustrations. Just talked about that, budget disputes, and longing for Big East roots. Willard, who led the Terps to a Sweet 16 this year, reportedly clashed out with school leadership and over-programmed resources, criticizing everything from travel costs to NIL support. Despite Maryland's offer him a top 10 salary and a $4.5 million revenue share among the best of the Big Ten, Willard bolted to Villanova, a school better aligned with his basketball-first philosophy. Tensions came to a head when Willard aired his grievances publicly, where Maryland's NCAA tournament opener pushing for fundamental changes behind the scenes. Insiders say Willard had already decided to leave, using negotiations as its cover. Boosters like Barry Gossett, a major donor, felt duped, saying he played us like a drum. Now, Maryland is left without a coach or AD, and the key players like Jacoby Gillespie and Rodney Rice may enter the transfer portal, as they did today. They both of them left of the Crab Five. Despite the chaos, some hope the situation forces Maryland leadership to rethink its basketball investment strategy. But make no mistake about it, Willard's departure leaves a bitter taste at College Park in Maryland. Listen, check this out. Maryland, you know, if you think about this University of Maryland, you think of them as a football school. Sometimes a basketball school, sometimes a basketball school. Shout out to all those in the comments. Shout out to Mom, she's watching. Thank you. But they're a basketball school. They're a football school first, right? And they went from the ACC and then they went to the Big Ten. He was also traveling. Willard was also complaining about travel, how, you know, we got to travel because Oregon and the rest of them are now in the Big Ten. Rightly so, but you know what? He had already made his mind up. Kind of like in a relationship, right? In a relationship, you know, that person that's really not trying to dig that person anymore, but they make up any and every excuse. He don't close the toilet no more. He don't, she leaves her eyelashes on the sink or something like that. Any and everything to get out the relationship and just saying what it is. Yo, you want to bounce anyway. So Kevin Willard, he gets a thumb down from me. And he definitely gets a thumb down because you know how he said goodbye to his players? He said goodbye via what? Well, everybody does now. Via Zoom, via FaceTime. Didn't have any interaction with them. And he just decided to say, yo, I'm out. Puts up a mask screen, and that's it. So, and I get why players and pundits and people like myself say, hey, NCAA, if the guys can move, if the coaches can move, why can't the players move? And this is why you got all this anarchy where there's free agency period all year round with the players. And people, they shouldn't be able to move like that. Well, the coaches just do whatever they want to. So there needs to be some kind of fixed thing from both aspects. So Kevin Willard, wish you the best at Villanova. But he bounced. And like he said, the donors, they were duped. And shame on them, man, for, got what he wanted, man. And like I said, they lost two of their top two guys today. And who else? No, they're supposed to be allegedly losing the rest of them as well. So recruiting as an NCAA Division I coach or two, it's a full-time gig for real. Like you're recruiting all the time so you don't lose that players or whatever. And high school recruits, unless you like a 5-star chipper, they're really not checking for you. Really not checking for you, man. So that's all I got about that. Terrible on his part, on Kevin Willard's part. So let me move on, man. My Yankees, man. My Yankees put up they had a run differential of 22 against the Brewers this weekend. They swept the Brewers in the opening season against the Milwaukee Brewers. And everybody's talking about the bats, the Torpedo bats. Are they really a competitive advantage? And this is from Yahoo Sports. This is from Jake Mintz. He says this, in New York, it's not a wand, it's a wizard. Or well, maybe it's both. One thing is certain, the New York Yankees are not cheating. They are not breaking or even bending the rules. The so-called torpedo bats that have gone viral in recent days are completely legal. In fact, a handful of other players around the league use the oddly-shaped bats over MLB's opening weekend. That number will almost certainly rise in the coming days. Unfortunately for conspiracy theorists and tinfoil hat wearers, there is no secret. Let me get my tinfoil hat music there. Unfortunately for conspiracy theorists, beneath the Fort train in the South Bronx, these new age sticks made news over the weekend amid a historic offensive barrage by the Yankees offense. On Saturday, New York hitters blasted 9 home runs against the Milwaukee Brewers, the highest single game tally in the franchise's 122-year history. A day later, the Bombers went deep 4 more times in a series sweeping 12-3 drubbing. Yes, it's not the sluggers, but their equipment that made headlines. The bats look extraordinarily bizarre, abnormal, misshapen. Instead of a barrel that maintains an even circumference down to the grain, has been the norm for decades in professional baseball, the Torpedo bats feature a thicker sweet spot before thinning off again toward the end. The result, in theory, is a piece of wood with more mass distributed in the specific locations where contact is made. If you remember anything from high school physics, force equals mass time acceleration. The concept makes so much sense. Yankee shortstop Anthony Volpe told reporters Sunday on Sunday's game, the 24-year-old off to a hot start in 2025 with home runs in the first 2 games of the season. I know I'm bought in. The bigger you can have the barrel where you hit the ball, it makes sense to me. Volpe was one of the 5 Yankees to go yard with an unusual number over the weekend, along with Austin Wells, Paul Goldschmidt, Cody Bellinger, Jazz Chisholm. Meanwhile, my main man, Aaron Judge, he had cranked off 4 home runs this season already. Judge is a rational line of thinking, but the mere mortals across MLB, the new tech has real appeal. Tampa Bay's Junior Caminero and Minnesota's Ryan Jefferson were 2 other big leaders seen using the bat Sunday. And while the advent of the bats have been credited to former Yankee hitting analyst and current Miami Marlins field coordinator Aaron Leonhardt, various MLB sources told Yahoo Sports that multiple other teams have been working on similar technology. I'm gonna stop right there. Look in this camera. Listen, MLB stated that this is within the rules. So to all my golfers out there, and I heard this analogy today. I forgot who it was. I forgot to give him the credit, but heard a guy this morning on the radio, and he was saying pretty much it's like the sweet spot on a golfer's driver. So for all my golf heads out there, if you ever play golf, wish I had a driver up here. So the driver is the largest thing on the largest golf club in your bag. And basically it's used to what? It's used to drive. So on the driver, it's the club head is big, and you have what they call that sweet spot. And that's pretty much how they're saying that these bats are made. And they're made from the point that, hey, it's done within the rules, it's done within the regulations. You might have a lot more home runs. MLB says it's okay. Now I hear a lot of people crying already. Oh, the Yankees, they're cheating. Oh, they're cheating. No, the Yankees are within the rules. And as you can see, other teams have absolutely started doing this technology. So let me just read a little bit more. Convincing big league hitters, particularly successful ones, to change anything about their routines can be difficult. They are creatures of habit across the process. Consistency. The Yankees brass have Volpe and company sufficiently invested in this new tech, and it's itself an enormous organizational win. Just like golf, right? I'm gonna speak on golf. The balls. Players play with different balls. The balls had different technology in it. As long as it's within the rules, I guess you're going to see more home runs. So what we got going on? Shout out to Mike Bristol. He said he loves the new bats. So what do we got going on here? So I would say this. What do you want? Because a couple years ago, when there was no scoring, when we had the shift on, and everybody is crying about stuff. Oh, they're not scoring enough runs. All right. So there's no PEDs involved, hopefully, right? Because, chicks were digging the long ball when McGuire and Sosa were doing their thing. And so now they came up with a new technology within the scope of the what? Of the rules of baseball, of how this happens. So with that said, the coach, the former Yankee coach, now the Marlins hitting instructor, he formed some technology that they can take advantage of. Man, shout out to Mike Bristol, shout out to D-Dub, shout out to Mom in the comments. Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all, man. Excuse me, those that are watching, man. So listen, stop listening to the casual fans. Stop it. Every team has had the same opportunity to use the bats. Exactly, D-Dubs. Everybody has had the chance to use it. Too bad that the Yankees did what? They scored all these runs. Hey, and everybody, the Milwaukee Brewers pitching staff, even though they made the playoffs last year, check it out. wasn't that very good. And Nestor Cortez, I said something to the guys in our group chat. I said he started off where he left off. The last time we saw Nestor Cortez, he let a bomb off to Freddie Freeman. Game over. Last we saw of Nestor Cortez, man. And he got hit again. So, and shout out to Aaron Judge, man. Everybody, like you said, has had the opportunity to do what? To make sure that they can use the technology too. So guess what people are starting to do? I'll say, oh shoot, the Yankees are doing it. Dang, they tearing up Nestor, man. Well, he's no longer with the Yankees, man. That's the Brewers' problem, man. So, if y'all got a problem with that, like I said, I was trying to actually look up the rule. I don't have the rule right here with me, but like I said, the Cody Bellinger, everybody's using it. Let me read just for some of the guys who are poo-pooing on this thing. Well, not poo-pooing. Let me see. From Cedric Mullins of the Baltimore Orioles, he said, trying to give hitters any kind of edge because pitching is only getting better and it's getting harder to hit. It's an interesting concept when it first introduced to us. I didn't know how widespread this thought process was, but it's getting around pretty quick. So as I forestated, right, we was whining, boohoo, and crying. Shout out to my man Greg Foreman because I got that from him. We were whining and boohoo and crying about how MLB ratings were low. They wasn't scoring no runs. And, shout out to Rob Manfred for fixing the shift. Even though I always said, I don't know why nobody don't bunt against the shift. But, hey, they don't bunt no more. And I need to get over that, right? Very seldom do you see sacrifices or squeezes or anything like that. So they don't bunt no more. So they got rid of the shift. Make sure that they was even talking about lowering the mound. They lowered the mound back in the 60s when the likes of Bob Gibson and all them cats were just overpowering, pitches. So there's an ebb and flow how things are. Jazz Chisholm loves the bat. Jazz is definitely digging the bat. And so what can you say? So, they gave this is an opportunity for pitchers to do what? Now the pitchers need to adjust, right? Remember where they a couple years ago, was it 2 years ago, with the making sure they can't, I guess, mud up the ball, whatever. And they say, that's going to drop our spin rate and all this stuff. Well, maybe they go back and let the pitchers adjust and do mud up the ball or whatever they do to the ball to allow them to spin the ball more. Who knows? I don't know. Or maybe they'll do so. But run scoring this weekend was fun. And if you're a Yankee fan like myself, I'm happy. And to all the conspiracy theorists and out there, man, hey, it's within the rules. Unless something is said, ain't no cork in the back, nothing like that. Hey, I will continue to use the bats, like he says. A lot of people, a lot of guys that are playing. Dave Snyder from Toronto says, I feel like guys with either shorter arms or who kind of crowd the plate a little bit, it's going to help a little bit just because you're not going to get jammed. Yep. Ernie Clemens says you still have to hit it. If you square it up with a normal bet, it's a home run as well. I don't think it's a huge difference, but I think for certain guys, it'll help. And for certain guys, it won't matter. I think Ernie Clement, the third baseman for the Blue Jays, he's saying absolutely the right thing. You still got to hit the ball. It's still hand-eye coordination. You still got to hit it. You still got to hit it. Still got to hit the ball. So that's my take on it. I'm pretty sure the guys will have more take on it, man. Make sure you like, click, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bells for all the notifications for all those people that are watching and checking us out, man. Hey, it's the Sports Chasers Podcast. It's the host and moderator, Kevin L. Warren. It's only me tonight. As you can see, nobody else is in the box. Let me go into this other story here, man. And you know what? Man, I'm glad this happened last night. There was a fight in the NBA. When was the last time we said that, man? Hold on, let me go to that. Shout out to Dime George Ford. Yankees have 18-year-old left-handed prospect named Lou Skunt. That's a future Cy Young winner. Mark my words. I did hear about Mr. Skunt, Dime. I did hear about him. They say he's a phenom, man. Especially he's a left-hander, man. We'll see, man. We'll definitely see. Let me go to, like I said, let's go to the NBA. So those that were watching last night, if you were watching, the Pistons and the Timberwolves, they got into a brawl in Minnesota. I heard people were trying to equate this to the Malice in the Palace, and I was like, man, stop it. There's no such thing, because the Malice and Palace, that was a really bad black eye for the NBA, and a lot of people got hurt. A lot of the players, suspended for, a whole season, things of that nature. It was a really bad and a black eye on the NBA, and for fan safety and for safety for the players as well, right? Because the NBA is the sport where they are actually right on the players. Your courtside seats are right there courtside. You saw Jennifer Hudson a couple of weeks ago. She was at the game with Common, and ball hit her glasses, knocked the glasses off. So the fans are right there. They're right there on it. So, like I said, I'm hearing this morning, oh my God, I said, stop it. If you looked at it, there was a lot of pushing, brouhaha, shoving and stuff like that. But the thing I will notice, I will take back. Let me just get to the article real quick. Let me just get to and this is from Yahoo Sports from Vincent Goodwill. He says there were ejections in Minneapolis, sure, and perhaps some suspensions to come. But what the Detroit Pistons have discovered, or rather they discovered for the better part of the season, is an identity. One can add that the melee in Minneapolis, now that they're giving it that name, to some of the other famous brouhahas in the franchise history. And of course, the jokes will fly about the Pistons being known for such things. The internet was on fire when it saw Isaiah Stewart grab his jersey and point to Detroit and blazing across the front. You saw that when he was walking out while barking at the Minnesota Timberwolves fans. This was in the aftermath of an altercation that started with the Timberwolves, Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo, former Knick, and Piston rookies Ron Holland. Holland, whose play has improved in recent weeks with more opportunity, has never been one to scare and didn't back down from Reid or DiVincenzo. Plays before the actual Cuffle, Stewart said, yes, has been into it with a DiVincenzo, and Rudy Gobert found himself on the other end of Stewart, letting him know what could happen if he was interested. So by the time the smoke cleared and the players were removed from the first row on the Target Center, 5 players and 2 coaches, including Pistons head coach J.B. Bickerstaff, were ejected. When you see as guys looking out for one another, guys trying to have each other's back, and those are non-negotiation in our locker room. Bickerstaff said after that, when you play the way we play, you earn a reputation. You're going to be tested. All NBA candidate Cade Cunningham and forward Tobias Harris were already out with injuries, so the ejections put even a bigger strain on the Pistons, who ultimately lost the game 123-104. Like I said, let's go back to what I said earlier. I like the fact that there was some kind of physical altercation, because to me, that shows that they care, that NBA players care. I have absolutely single-handedly, but me and my co-hosts on here have absolutely killed the NBA for not caring during the regular season, right? Pistons are on their way. The Pistons were awful last year. They were awful. Shout out to J.B. Bickerstaff for putting this team together and getting it right and getting Cade Cunningham and them boys straight. Minnesota, I think that they're having a down year because they made that trade. Sent us Cat, and I think we're getting the best of that deal. But needless to say, this to me showed that they cared. And I keep saying, and I keep barking, I says, NBA has a problem, whether people want to believe it or not. People ain't really checking for the regular season, because guess what? The players ain't really checking for the regular season. So, people can say whatever they want, but it's the truth. So with that said, I was ecstatic when I said, so I looked on Twitter yesterday. I said, they fighting. I said, let me go back and see what I said. I said, okay, they're fighting. They actually care. I didn't think that's all NBA fans, or those who were fans and who think about coming back being fans. That's all they care. They want you to care. I said jokingly in our chat, I says, anybody that left the bench, they need to be they need to be suspended, just like how all my Knicks were suspended when they left the bench in the 1998 playoff game against the Miami Heat. Let me see what everybody's saying. Piston Stewart is from Rochester, New York. He definitely act like he's fighting like every game. Mike Bristol, yeah, I've heard that he was from Rochester. Shout out to all my people in Rochester. Warren D. Leon says it really wasn't that bad. Well, the Pistons have to be wise. You already know you're shorthanded. You had to be smart. Absolutely. Yes. Like I said, from injuries I read earlier, there was definitely injuries beforehand, and they absolutely had to make sure that they was, be smart about it, man. But a lot of pushing and shoving. There's more people fell into the crowd. And if you look at the starting things, DiVincenzo got tired of, pushing him around. And that's what pretty much started. And I'm glad they're fighting. I'm glad everything's physical. And yeah, I was mad about the Knicks in Miami. Absolutely right. D-Dubs. Absolutely. I'm glad that they care. I'm glad that they're starting, to get it. Well, hopefully they get it, man. You got the playoffs upcoming, and let's see. Let's see if this is a carryover. There's a little bit more. How can I say? There's a couple more games left. Less than, I think, 15, or maybe probably less than 10. I don't have it right in front of me, but they're going down the stretch in the Eastern and Western Conference, and we'll go over that on Thursday, where everybody is. We'll have Ryan back on. He'll talk about where the players are going, man. But hey, Minneapolis Melee, I guess they want to call it. Okay, we'll give it to y'all. The Minneapolis Melee. All right, got a couple people suspended. So be it. So be it. Let me get to one of my two last things I want to say, man. And shout out to all those that's watching the comments, that's hanging out with us in the comments. If you're new to the show, just click in new to the show, man. We appreciate you for rocking with us tonight, man. Thank you so much, man. Let me get to this. This is a funny story. I just thought this was funny. Jets owner Woody Johnson calls the NFLPA survey totally bogus after receiving a F on his report card in 2025. You talk about self-awareness. Woody Johnson, what makes you think that you deserve anything else other than the F? Let me read this article, man, from CBS Sports again, from Jared Dubbin. He says this, and this was 4 hours ago. For the last years, the NFLPA has released report cards grading each of the league's 32 teams from A to F in the following areas: treatment of families, food dining area, nutritionist, dietitian, locker room training room, training staff, weight room, strength coaches, team travel, head coach, and ownership. The offseason, one of the teams that fared the worst in this grading was the New York Jets, who dropped from 21st in overall grade to 2024th to 29th in 2025. A major part of that job was due to the team's ownership grade, where players gave Woody Johnson an F. Let me read on. Johnson, for his part, he's not too happy about it. He says this in a quote: "My first reaction, I think, is totally bogus," Johnson said. He then derided the survey as not fair and also said if players were unhappy, they need to tell him via Fox Sports. He says, "I can't do anything if you don't tell me." That sounds like a relationship issue, right? Sometimes relationships, man, that person needs to be heard, man. They don't think they're being heard. Why say anything, right? Johnson's overall grade F ranked 32nd out of 32 owners. In the jot down the team's report card page, the NFLPA elaborated on that grade with the following comments. Oh, man, they gave him comments, too, like a report card. Owner Woody Johnson's average ratings for perceived willingness to invest in the facilities is 5.58 out of 10 from the Jets players, a ranking of 32 out of 32. Wow. The players feel that Johnson does not contribute to a positive team culture. That's 32 out of 32. The players feel that Johnson is somewhat committed to building a competitive team, a rank of 31 and 32. Johnson did not allow that. We want to improve every day. So perhaps the players' feedback, which does exist right there in the report card, will spur him to make some much needed changes. And that's the end of that article. Listen, Woody, please miss me. Debbie, what's going on? Thank you for chiming in, Debbie. Woody Johnson, in the words of D-Dubs, what did D-Dubs say? Woody, please miss me with that. Miss me. You're 32 out of, you're last. You are last. Yes, you're a bad owner, bro. We had you as a thumbnail twice. And not for good things with the Jets. And you're talking about, hey, how can they do that? Y'all need to tell me what's wrong. Okay. And I'll go to my man DA. DA always says this, man. DA says this. He says, I don't think the owners necessarily want to win all the time. You know what their biggest win is? They want to get a profit. They want to make a profit. They want to make a profit. And Woody Johnson, you can't be mad, man. The Jets, what y'all did this year, y'all gave Aaron Rodgers the keys to the Ferrari, and he wrecked it. He wrecked the Ferrari. Y'all gave him the keys, y'all sit, and then y'all fired the coach. Saleh's gone. Saleh's who at the time the Jets were number one in defense, dipped all the way down to 26 or 27 after he got left. Trash organization. Thank you, Mike. I was going to say Mike Mills. D-Dubs said that. Trash organization. Yep. So I don't cry for me, Woody Johnson. Yes, y'all gave him to him. Y'all went and got Devontae Adams, the Jets. Then what else y'all do? Y'all gave him the keys. He wrecked it. The Jets didn't sniff the playoffs, didn't play hard, and they gave up, essentially. So, but shout out to the Jets' new regime, their new coach, and hopefully Aaron Glenn, who was a former Jet and knows how New York goes. Hopefully Aaron Glenn can overcome that. And he put his foot down already and pretty much say, we good on Aaron Rodgers. We're going to start anew. And as you can see, they signed my man from Fields from Pittsburgh. Now we good. Now we're definitely good. We ain't trying to mess with him. So we definitely good, man, on him, man. So Woody, you got your report card. What your parents used to say when you get, I couldn't bring home the Fs in my house. Ask D-Dubs. We couldn't bring home Fs. Fs were non-negotiable. Nope. And if you got a D, you better hide it. You know what I'm saying, man? So we supposed to be cool with that? Yeah, they telling the truth. So Woody, this is your opportunity now, to make sure that you tell your players, hey guys, if there's something bothering you, you need to let me know within reason, because sometimes we know in this landscapes of sports, the player empowerment, we see how the pendulum swings sometime, and it's not necessarily fair for one side or the other. So we have to think definitely differently with that, man. So Woody, you got your report card. The next term, get better. Get better, Woody. Get better. I love it. Hey, the NCAA, the Final Four matchup here. Final Four matchup. You're gonna have this weekend. You're gonna have Auburn versus Florida, and then you're gonna have Houston versus Duke. Listen, Florida, Florida escaped again. But we'll talk more about that. Shout out to Auburn. Shout out to my main man, Bruce Pearl, man. Bruce Pearl turning around another SEC school, man. He did it at Tennessee. Now he's at Auburn doing it again. And Duke, who, if you look at Duke, they're Cooper Flag. If you look at Duke is no more reviled as we hate Duke, right? North Carolina is on the men's. Pretty much they shouldn't have made the tournament this year. And Houston, man, what a defensive display they had this weekend, man. Houston defense is tough, and they got some scores on their end, man. So the Final Four will be in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome. The first game is at 6:09, Auburn versus Florida, and then you got the second game, Houston versus Duke. Should be definitely a good one, needless to say. And then in the ladies, we got the ladies coming up. And they're doing their final, I want to say sweet, Elite Eight. You got Texas and TCU playing right now. That score is 15-9. And then the second game, you'll have USC versus UConn. That's the chance for them to go play in the Final Four against UCLA and, of course, South Carolina. They'll definitely, but Brian will be going over these games with the ladies. So with Mike Mills, I'll definitely be going over the games. Hey, I rock with y'all for about almost 35 minutes, man. That's all I got tonight, man. So listen, make sure you like, click, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure on the podcast side you give us that 5-star review. Thank you guys for continuing to rock with us, man. Yes, it's a little short and abbreviated tonight, man, but that's all I got for you tonight, man. So listen, be well, be blessed, man. Yo, on behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, Yo, this is the Sports Chasers podcast, man. Y'all be good. Y'all be great, man. Yo, we holler at you Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Y'all be there. Peace.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Sports Chasers podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms, and connect with us on all social media channels for exclusive content and updates. We'd also love for you to join the conversation, share your thoughts, and become part of the Sports Chasers community. And remember to tune in next time for some more real sports talk. Until then, stay frosty.